This week on the O The Anthem podcast. Hey, dumb people. You're everywhere, even during Corona. I know. I have thoughts. We're going to touch on everybody who's breaking quarantine and the dumb people in charge who are ending quarantine. More news about the theaters, everything in the South. We'll touch on Corona. You know, we will talk about all of it. More Trump news as well. Disinfectant. Corey tried the cure, but he still survived 420. And in the news, Kim Jong-Un, is he alive? Is he dead? Does it matter? Are they going to weekend to Bernie him during the parade? We really hope so. All that and more coming up on this week's O The Anthem podcast.
With the first overall selection, the Cincinnati Bengals select the O The Anthem podcast. That is an awful choice. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. I'm not only a spokesman for guys who need to get a haircut, I'm also a member. Welcome to episode 316 of the O The Anthem podcast, coming to you from the hashtag OTA LA studios, high above the 110 freeway in downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for checking us out on all the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, O The Anthem. It's easy as that. For video stuff, you go to youtube.com/O The Anthem. And for podcast stuff, you go to anchor.fm/O The Anthem.
So wait, it's like O The Anthem everywhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's super easy. Yeah. So before we get started, I just want to know,
live streaming on Facebook, on Twitch, on Twitter, on
two
YouTube.
spots on Facebook, by the way. The O The Anthem page and the Anthem Alliance page, which everybody should go and join that group, the Anthem Alliance. It's for fans of the podcast, so go check it out there. But before we get super off, I do want to say, as an update, since I had a little bit of a fun year open, we are both freshly showered. Well, I am. And are you freshly showered?
No.
Okay.
Well, how fresh is fresh?
Oh, that's called 2 days.
Yes.
Okay, wow. So we're both freshly showered.
I was actually thinking about it, not to sort of more speaking about the general malaise that this Rona has brought us. Is that like I'll get out of the shower and then all of a sudden I'll think I have to do something. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, did I just get an important email? And I'll walk away after I get out of the shower. And then like 5 hours later, I'm like, did I put deodorant on? like my life feels so scattershot that like, you know, it's not, I don't know. Like,
and speaking as somebody who's sitting 6 feet away from you, you did not, sir. You did not.
I did after I realized I did.
But yeah, we are both freshly showered and we're both wearing pants because there are very few things we have to do during this quarantine. And the bare minimum is I don't let 3 days go without showering. Mm-hmm. And I must have pants on at all time.
I mean, I feel shorts qualify as pants.
Oh, no. The lower half must be covered.
Right. Acceptable enough to go outside.
Yes. I want to be in my apartment that if a fire were to start suddenly.
Right.
Or, an earthquake, that I wouldn't have to be like, oh, no, it's been 6 weeks. Where are my pants?
Yeah. I mean, like
something to go outside.
If worst came to worst, I feel like I could get out of here pretty quick. You know?
Yeah.
That's how I like to even prepare myself. God, would worst come to worst be that?
What?
But,
an earthquake?
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably would. Sorry, I'm trying to level out that.
Trying to adjust yourself a little.
Hey, there we go. All right, a little less blown out. I had the hat on earlier, and I think the sheen of the hair, which, by the way, how's that looking, folks? Huh? Trying to do something with it. It's that in-between phase between what Corey's rocking right now and what I usually wear. And that cutting my own hair is getting all more and more appealing. But now I'm like at that point where like if I cut it now and I mess it up, will it grow out in time before I have to actually leave the house for good?
I think you'll be okay. I really feel like it's going to be a while. So if it's a I just need to have less hair situation,
absolutely.
Then I feel like you might be able to manage something.
So here's the other problem. Because if I do mess it up, the only other thing I can do is just go to the scalp. And I have one of those faces that says, could be a member of the Aryan Nation. And I don't necessarily. There's pictures of me when I'm 10.
Trying to get drafted by the Patriots?
Yeah. We're going to get to that. Don't worry. Yeah. But there's a picture of me when I was like 10 and I had a shaved head. I look like a Hitler Youth. And I'm just like, you are everything that's wrong. I can't do that.
The one time I got the haircut like super close.
Yeah.
I was just like, it's not that it looked bad. It's just that it looked like I'd given up.
Yes.
You know, it had that very like, just shave it to the scalp. I don't care anymore.
And that's how I feel like I'm going to mess it up and I'll shave it. And then I'll look like a skinhead. And I'll also have that people who are like, you tried to cut your hair, didn't you? Yeah. And I'm like, I did try to cut my own hair.
To be fair, when I did it was post mohawk.
Yes.
So I was trying to just even everything out to the roots, basically.
I remember.
Yeah.
I think I do remember seeing pictures of that. So
yeah.
Anyway, I promised everybody that we were going to talk about this first. So let's talk about this first. Speaking of dumb people doing dumb things in quarantine. And
not cutting their own hair.
You know, I say shorts or pants. Short pants, as my dad would call them. Short pants or pants. And it's hot. I can't stress this enough. I didn't know what was going to be the breaking point for quarantine. But this weekend, we learned what it was. And that's a temperature in LA that gets above
85, 90 degrees.
Yeah, I was going to say 90, but I think a couple of those days it was like 88. So it's really just 85.
And hey to Terry, who's joining us in the live stream.
Oh, hey, Terry. I should have the chat open. Oh, I do. Yep. Hi, Terry. Welcome. Welcome, join us. But you wonder what's going to break the quarantine. What's going to break the people? And apparently it's a really nice day. And LA County, Mayor Garcetti and a board of supervisors held strong. And they said parks are closed, beaches are closed. Newport Beach, which I believe is Orange County.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Well, here's the thing. I really do think there's sort of a psychic thing that happened when people started protesting and going out.
Yeah.
Because I've been sort of doing my unscientific study of how much are people staying inside by looking at traffic on the freeway.
Yeah.
As soon as the stay-at-home order hit, like the week before it hit, it was getting less and less, but there was still a discernible rush hour. There was still bumper-to-bumper traffic at 6 o'clock p.m., you know? And then as soon as it hit, it was just like Sunday afternoon all the time. And then there were periods of time where it was like there was nobody on, Christmas morning kind of. Yeah. Or Christmas evening kind of traffic all the time. And then as soon as people started protesting a little bit, it felt like it kicked up a little bit in my mind. It felt like it kicked up a little bit.
I do feel like the protests were, again, we talked about this last week. It's half people who really care and half people who are like, I get out of my house. Yeah. And I think there are people who are just like, oh, so we can kind of start leaving now, right?
Well, and I feel like there's people who are just like, well, I'm not going to do that stupid thing.
Yes.
But looking at the pictures of the people on the beach, and there's a ton of people on the beach. That's the problem. That's the problem. The magnitude of people is the problem.
You had that idea, and so did 4,000 other people.
Well, the thing is, you look at these people, and they're not necessarily wearing masks and gloves and stuff or protective gear of any kind.
I don't want to get a suntan.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying like they're at the very least, it seemed like people were staying a little bit of a distance apart from one another, but it doesn't make any sense at the same time. Like, it's just like,
while CNN was reporting, a group of guys walked over to a group of girls who they did not know and sat down and talked to them. Now, this is a natural human thing. It's a thing that 20-somethings do, but neither one, even if you said, I'm going to go to the beach, I'm going to sit by myself, me and my 3 roommates who, we're already exposed to each other. You and I have already exposed to each other. Yeah. So there's nothing we can do to stop that. But that minute you cross now touching someone else, and by the way, that idiot who came up and talked to you and sat down with you has been doing that to other groups of girls all day long. So now
and maybe one of them has the Rona.
It's like sex. It's once you sit down with someone, you've been exposed to everyone that they've been exposed to. Who would have thought that lesson would come back? That was the... So you millennials may not remember, I think it was the anti-AIDS campaign, right? Middle school, where I was like, when you sleep with someone, you've slept with everyone that they've slept with.
I think that sort of became the talking point afterwards. Yeah. I mean, like the just say no, or like abstinence is the only fail-proof method, I think was more of like the generation before, but it kind of trickled into our sex ed too.
By the way, I signed a pledge to not have sex until marriage.
Just one call to the tip line is all it's gonna take.
Real easy to do that at 12. Real hard to do that at 14. Let me tell you.
It's like the people signing up for a 1 million-year contract with Scientology. It's just like, I didn't think this would become a thing.
Oh man. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. So the during the mid 90s, it was you've slept with everyone that they've slept with.
Yeah.
And now you're exposed to everyone. And I try to express this to people. I'm like, well, it's only one person. Yeah, but the one person who's willing to come to your house is probably willing to go to other people's houses.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to call any names, Phil. But what I'm going to say is that person may go party all the time and be exposed to a lot of people and then expose you.
I get it. I think that I think there's a worry amongst people, and I've sort of fallen into it a little bit here myself from time to time, which is I wonder if it's if you went out every single day, right? Maybe your chances of catching it from say you're using reasonable protection for yourself. You got a mask,
yes, got it.
You got gloves, all that sort of stuff.
The condoms of the hands. Yeah.
You have a gun, undercover,
okay,
just in case.
Too. Yes, yeah.
Just in case you see any visible corona coming towards you.
Depending on what state we're in, yes, that could be true.
But I think there's some reasonable expectation that if you're taking some steps, there's a chance you might not get it, or there's a chance you get. Like,
true.
It feels still metaphysical to an extent.
And you have to go to the grocery store, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, they don't have this, so I'm going to go to CVS, and then like, oh, well, Best Buy. I got to stop by Best Buy.
Right.
So you're doing a regular errand run, but you have your mask on, you have your gloves on,
and you're only going to the places that you're allowed to go to.
Yeah,
like,
there's only so many places.
Right. I mean,
you can't stop for lunch at Chili's.
Yeah. I mean, you can stop there and pick up the order and then take your Chili's home.
I'm getting texts every day from Chili's. I don't know. I shouldn't have signed up for that thing.
What?
Free guac was not worth it. I got free guac one time, and I've got 9,000 texts during quarantine. Don't forget, Chili's to go is available. Just order on the app.
By the way, the ads are not making it easier with the just like Chili's cares about our.
No, you don't. You sons of bitches.
We can't wait to see you again at Chili's one day. Like.
But
I'm sure you can, Chili's.
So here's the thing. LA County stayed hard. No beaches, no nothing. But Orange County and Riverside County both opened their beaches. And you might say, well, that's trouble for Riverside County people and it's trouble for Orange County people. But everyone I know went to the beach this weekend. And I'm looking at you, all you dumbass millennials who work for me. If we reopen in... What, a week, 2 weeks? How much time do we have?
I mean, it's supposed to be 2 weeks, but
yes. Okay, so
like
listen.
2-ish weeks.
I'm going to give you so much shit when I see you because I don't want you to be able to walk away. And I'm going to call you a dumbass because you're a dumbass. But it's like everyone who lives north of the hills went to Riverside, and everyone who lives south of the hills went to
Orange
Newport.
County.
Yeah. And I'm just like, all of you are going out. Like, I get it. I now live in a sweat box, essentially. And I was not prepared for my first weekend in the apartment to be a sweat box weekend.
To be a 90-degree weekend.
No fans, no nothing. I wasn't prepared for it, but I didn't go out. And you and I don't know, was it the podcast or after we were joking about going and just claiming the hot tub?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it was on the podcast.
Yeah, I think it was
But it's
afterwards.
like nobody's used the pool or the hot tub, but could we make the argument that if we went down and used it and they tried to throw us out, we'd just be like, well, listen, I mean, maybe we're allowed to use it from here on out until, the end of Corona.
Using the lick it to claim it as your own logic.
Basically, I think. Yeah. Just like, I mean, listen, we both might have Corona. He's peed in the pool already. So, we could just claim this as our own. And I get, like, not everybody has a pool. I don't have a pool. It's
peed in the pool with the alpha maneuver of just peeing into the pool from the
Everybody-
outside. Just
everybody got upset. Of course, I was standing on the side of the pool. But like,
power move.
I don't know if it's worse for you because like the tees that you walk down and it's right there and it's crystal clear and it looks so fantastic, and I don't have it, so I'm just like, there is no pool. I'm gonna join a gym with a pool.
The other thing I do too is I choose how I walk around the building so I can get a glimpse of the pool.
Yeah.
Just so I can see like if there's people having fun down there, and then I always remember like, of course there's nobody having fun down there.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, and to be fair, we used it maybe 4 times last year. It's the kind of thing that you don't you don't really think about till it's gone. I think it's just like, again, would we go to the pool on a normal April day? Absolutely not. Even if it was 90 degrees, I'd be like, fuck that. I want to stay in the air conditioning. But because you can't go, now you're like, I just really want to go to the pool. Yeah. So I mean, dummies.
But me and you have had this conversation about like what is acceptable in this time. Like, I want to finish shooting a video that I'm working on, and it requires me to go out and take shots around downtown, but I don't have to interact with people. Yeah. I don't have to have anyone else involved. I can just sort of like walk from place to place, take my quick video, and move on. And to
be fair, we risked the health of the model the first night that we went out, so it's fine. Who really cares?
That was before the stay-at-home order and all that, but in a morally gray area. But
I'm excited for you guys to see that.
She's already been exposed too, so
that's also true. Yes,
she's been part. So
in many disgusting ways. Anyway, I'm excited for people to see the ad or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Oh God, we have more people chatting here. Go ahead, explain what you were gonna do.
I was just saying, like, it's one of those. Is it okay for me to go out and just shoot video all by myself and like walk around downtown? It's like, yeah, you can do that, but avoid other people and stay 6 feet away. But then I assume other people are having those same conversations, but their lines are a little bit further or more aggressive. Sure. It's like, well, I mean, if I go to the beach and I don't interact with people and I stay in my little bubble and I just get a quick suntan and I come home, then what's the difference from like if I just went out on my balcony and got a little suntan? Like,
well, and I love the thought pictures of those naked girls on the fucking balconies. You guys are.
I'm just saying like how somebody would try and get a tan before.
No, I mean I get it.
And like you're doing you maybe you go to the beach and you have some sort of thought process like, well, I'm not going to get in the water, obviously.
Why not? The water is just as safe as the sand. And in fact, based on the pictures I saw, there were less people in the damn water. So I wonder, what does the hot day matter?
Should we claim the water?
Well, I mean, that's what I do when I
get and just be like, nobody else can get in the ocean, just me. Haha, it's my ocean now. Corey's
first
ocean.
thing I do when I get to the beach is I walk and I just whip it out and piss right in the ocean. And I'm like, mine now, guys. Sorry. But yeah. I'm wondering if that's what Jim meant when he said that's how I always roll up. It's completely out of context.
I think it was talking about the rolling up to the beach in the protective gear.
Yes. Yeah. Well, and thank you for joining us, Jim. We appreciate it, as always. And everybody should check out Jim's Movie Crap live stream every Saturday or most Saturdays. It's available at Jim Gets Real on YouTube. Make sure you check it out. It's always interesting. It's the stuff that we should do if, we thought to do things like that before our friends did. Anyway.
Yeah.
But here's the difference though. You're walking around taking pictures downtown.
Yeah.
You're on the move. You're one of several thousand people probably on the move in the city.
Mm-hmm.
The beach is a destination, and that's where I draw the line. Are we going somewhere or are you going around?
But I mean, like, this is the same sort of thing we were talking about with farmers markets and stuff. Like,
right.
They were allowed to go, so they went.
And then destinations should not be allowed. You going around and taking pictures is just like going to the store. Just you happen to stop a few times before you get back.
And I don't actually go into an enclosed space, so I guess you can make an argument that I'm
probably better
off.
Now, not that the beach is an enclosed space, but it feels enclosed when there's 4,000 people around you and none of you are getting in the water.
I mean, like, I maybe the argument for the beach would be like people could go if they could only limit themselves to 20 people who are separated by great distances, like.
No, I think the
if there was like 200 yards apart from you and the next group of 10 people, then maybe you could make more of a reasonable argument that like we wouldn't have as much.
Ron DeSantis.
Yeah.
For all his flaws, like putting on a surgical mask like a serial killer, apparently. I don't know. A dysfunctional person. I don't understand how he
put it on backwards.
No. It's supposed
like
to go
upside down.
Yeah, it's supposed to go over your ears.
It's supposed to go over the ears, but he like put like
the top of his head.
It's like he almost like put it around his neck. Like it was honestly, really weird.
I think he had the thought of like, I'm gonna squeeze this one down and then flip this one up over the. Like, no, man, that's not how it goes. But Florida beaches are apparently doing a like lane system where you can be in the lane. And only one group can be in the lane.
Right.
But to encourage people to come back to the beach, it's like, we're going to mark off. And it's 2 red flags are a lane. And then yellow flag is not a lane. And then we'll put 2 red flags. So it's like all lined up with 10 feet between lanes.
Mm-hmm.
And you and your crew can just get in a lane. It goes from the water to the I guess boardwalk, but they probably don't have
like the entrance to the. Yeah.
And just like, so that way it's you and this lane I mean, the
just
wind
like
is,
in Ocean City, like every street takes you to the beach.
right?
Like,
Essentially,
yeah,
but
every
hopefully
cross street.
more of them, or there won't be that many people at the beach. But just my thought is like if dude sneezes in the next lane, the sea breeze is gonna blow that right on over to me. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, you walking around downtown,
But I'm saying, like, so I think the problem is that with the way that testing has gone so far,
Yeah.
and the way that the numbers are being reported, there's 350 million people in America,
Yes.
roughly, and we're seeing that how many cases are there in America?
2.9 million.
2.9 million. So there's 1%, roughly speaking.
However,
of people. I know.
We've done 5.4 million tests and gotten 2.9 million cases.
I totally get it.
That is a 50%
I 100% understand where you're going with this alternative math. I'm
Yes.
saying somebody who's not thinking about it like that.
Oh, okay,
Who's
yeah.
just watching CNN and says, wait a minute, there's 350 million people. There's, 3 million tests or 3 million confirmed. We're at 1%. Does that mean that on a normal day where I might interact with 100 people, I would hit one of those people
Yeah.
throughout the course of my day if we were living our normal everyday life? Or is it the type of like, I'm going to hit that person eventually, but I'm going to hit them way later because 100 people will take longer to get to now?
Hopefully. I mean,
But
not Ralph's the last
But I'm
time
saying
like
like
that. They're doing
this is the type
Yeah.
of math that happens when there's nobody standing in the way telling you exactly what you can and cannot do, and that's part of the. And when you're told that you can do something,
You do.
you do it. Like
Right.
I imagine a lot of people in Orange County are saying to themselves like, well, if they say we can go to the beach, I don't know why we can't go to the beach. Like,
Right. We'll stay apart from everyone and do
the parking lot is closed, and
That math you were just doing, by the way, is why I don't want statistics to be in high school. 'Cause I
Right.
feel like people are doing like in their head, they're doing some kind of probability math, which is not accurate, but they had it in high school a ways back. And they're like, I have like basically a 0% chance of coming into contact with anybody. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. And by the way, the one part of me that wishes that Corona was kind of like a zombie outbreak.
yeah.
Because the worst part of this is this heat wave is going to continue through next weekend. We're really going to get 2 weekends of people at the beach. And then we won't know for 10 to 14 days what the impact of that is.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like, oh, well, everybody seems fine. Let's open up the state. And then there's the beach weekend crunch of just thousands of cases coming back. And I mean, this is really what I'm getting to, dumb people. You can stop listening now because I don't want you to know my grand scheme. You said in the pre-show meeting, hey, we can't rubber corner the entire world.
Right.
And my argument is we should rubber corner nothing because nature has done a beautiful job over the last 3.8 billion years of naturally selecting the most adaptable of the species and keeping us strong.
Right.
Right now, I'm not going to say coronavirus is part of that. It is part of that. Natural selection says the strongest should survive. And things like viruses and, climate change, there will only be a few 100,000 of us in the large dome shelters under the ice when climate change comes and just turns us into a snowball Earth. But maybe we should just let natural selection play itself out. That's my argument.
Well, I mean, this is going to Trump's comments recently. This was Thursday, Friday.
Thursday.
Time is irrelevant.
Thursday.
Now. Yeah, Thursday.
There's yesterday, there's today, and there's tomorrow.
Yeah.
I forgot there was stuff in the dryer.
Edit that one out, bitch.
So it was yesterday. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
It was the day before the day we are currently on, and it's not tomorrow. I believe it was Thursday, though.
Yeah. The disinfectant and the UV light and everything like that. My argument was that while I believe in natural selection and while I believe that we should be doing everything we can to preserve as many lives as possible, I think it's counterproductive to have the president come out and say, I'm exploring these different theories for how to and like how he just jumps to like the Mason tweet that you brought up is just
I was going to
beautiful
say,
for that.
I have it right here because I wanted to quote. So Craig Mazin, if you don't know, he wrote some of your favorite movies, even if you didn't know that.
Most recently, Chernobyl. Yeah.
But way different from that, he also wrote the Hangover movies and 4 or 3 scary movies of the series, however many there were. But he's also on the Script Notes podcast, which people should check out. If you want to write I think my firing up about writing screenplays was because Corey was like, hey, you should check out these two guys. They're really famous writers. And then I listened to them for about a week and I was like, I'm going to start writing screenplays. And then
well, this was that you're
later,
like, I'm only going to write books.
Yes.
And I'm just like, I think you would like movies. And you're just like, I don't know. It looks,
it's
I don't know. I don't know how to do this one.
The formatting is, and then I listened
I can't
to
just randomly write and then it comes out. I'm just like, it's easier than you think. You should just look into it a little bit.
And listen to script notes, and now we're in California.
No,
thanks, Craig Mason. But his tweet was, one of the hallmarks of the dangerously stupid is the consistent belief that they found great solutions that experts somehow missed. And we've seen this before from Trump. I've seen this from people in my life, especially you dumbasses who work for me who went to the beach. You do this a lot where it's just like, well, wait. Have we tried jiggling the handle a little bit? And then I do something sarcastic like, wait, what? Jiggle the... I feel... Let's try jiggling the handle. Nope, still locked. I don't know why that wouldn't have worked. But that's a mark of the dangerously stupid. I'm looking at you, people who work for me. But yes, I think the spirit of Craig's tweet, and I don't want to go too far, but I will, is that we should let natural selection play itself out. You want to protect people, and I get that. I want to protect people too. I want to protect children from dangerous situations. I want to protect, the ill-informed. But there is a next level of natural selection where you have to say, I know the president just told me to inject Lysol into myself. Yeah. But I feel like that's a dumb idea and I'm not going to do it. And that is why we would survive. And my genes have probably propagated well beyond now. Not anymore in the future, but well thus in the past. But those genes will prosper. And then the guy the 20-year-old who is
just like drinking bleach, that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, probably a guy who was eating Tide Pods, I don't know, 6 months ago or a year ago.
Somebody who probably doesn't even have coronavirus. He's just like, I'm going to take this preemptively.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're adding a little chlorine to the gene pool. That's what I'm saying. We're adding a little chlorine to the gene pool and maybe eliminating some of the weaker.
Again, I'm not saying that we need to baby-proof everything. Like, there's one of the ones close to here is like there's a road that's there's a lot of deaths on it, like vehicle deaths, like people getting hit by vehicles and stuff like that. So LA County had like come up with this, or the city of LA had come up with this thing of like 0 death zone or something like that, and they were going to do everything they could to make this section of the road safer so that nobody would die in like a vehicle related accident anymore. And it's more lights, and it's like brighter crosswalks, and it's better barriers and
speed bumps, probably.
Yeah, speed bumps, everything. Anything they can do to bring it down to 0 deaths.
By the way, in California, those are called speed humps, which I don't understand, but they're speed bumps. Go
I
ahead.
get the logic that if there's things that you could do to save lives, then you should do it.
Yes.
But at a certain point, if you're going over 197 speed humps, and just sort of like you're doing like one of those videos that we watch where they try and go over all the speed bumps at an insanely high rate of speed. Like, you're not really like, if one person dies because there's not enough speed humps, then you can't really blame that on not being safe enough, Like,
I mean, listen, we've watched the videos on YouTube.
Because there's people who just like run across the road too. Like, at a certain point, there's nothing you can do about somebody who...
You can't fix stupid.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, when you heard the president say we should inject disinfectant into our bodies, did you think, let me run out and get some Lysol?
No.
Okay. So all I'm saying is,
I did that thing where like both of your hands just like come up to your face and you're just like trying to keep your brain from like leaking out of your eyes. Like you just have them like right here on your eyes just to keep the brain from leaking. And I was just like, what the fuck?
So, I mean, look, we have a great sample here. Someone in the top 99% of intelligence, somebody in the top 50% of intelligence. We agree. So the guy who is going to be injecting it, I mean, he's lower than that. And I mean, really, listen, my nephew could, who is 2, by the way, 2, has passed the placement exams to put him in kindergarten. He has all the skills he needs to go into kindergarten. By the way, I'm just saying, it's a family trait.
Yeah.
It's genetic,
right?
That kind of skill set. And by the time he is going to school. He's going to be way far in advance of everyone else, right? So arguably at 2, I think I could say, hey, you know the stuff mommy uses to clean the floor? We're going to put this in you to kill the virus. And I bet you he would be like, that sounds like a bad idea, because he's also really coherent and speaks in full sentences. Yes. He says stuff like, no, that's a bad idea. And if he can do that, I mean, again, superior genes. I understand.
We get it. We get it. He's better than Trump.
Yes.
He's smarter than Trump. A 2-year-old.
Arguably,
a 2-year-old scion of the cheek gene.
If we didn't have the 35-year-old limitation, I would say the Dems should put him up. He's super cute. He'll get a lot of votes. He speaks in full sentences.
That logic didn't work with Pete Buttigieg.
He's not secretly racist. He's mixed. So it's like a... I think he could get more than 0% of the black vote, like Biden or Bernie no, Biden's doing well.
Yeah,
Bernie or Buttigieg.
Yeah,
so he's Buttigieg, but
or
less
Klobuchar
racist.
or Warren or
He's all of those guys, but less racist, and also super communist, but only in that way that 3-year-olds are when they're like, "Why doesn't everybody have food?" And like. Buddy, you and I are going to have some real good conversations about that in a few years. I can't wait to tell you how much capitalism sucks. But anyway, again, if
watch
he
him
knows,
to just grow up into like a little Patrick Keaton and just like.
So I have this fear. It's a nightmare of recurring.
Like you come home one Christmas and he's just like in a suit with suspenders and he's just like.
So.
He's just like on the phone with his stock agent.
The millennials may not know who Alex P. Keaton is. The nightmare I have is that he turns into a little Ben Shapiro. That's the recurring nightmare. Now, his dad is super tall, and, we have tall people in my family. I'm taller than average. So my hope is that he won't have that little person complex that Ben Shapiro has. Yeah. But I think my concern is that, like, growing up in Maryland, and my dad being there and being far more influenced than me, that at some point he's just going to be like, well, listen, I feel like people can just pick him up by their bootstraps, and I'm going to just reflexively smack him across the face, and then, I don't know, maybe I go to jail. I don't know how that works.
It was so close to the phone going flying, too, by the way.
I was watching it. And it's a small price to pay to smack my nephew into some sense.
By the way, Jim has given us carte blanche to steal all of his ideas. So just so he knows for the future, I'm going to introduce every single Corey Baker filmmaker movie review with, hey, everybody, it's Jim.
Wait, here's my new icon.
Hopefully.
For the, Everyman movie review. Eating popcorn. Also, we got to get together with Jim and do a movie commentary.
We had the Aquaman sort of discussed,
yes.
but not planned.
Yes, and hey, none of us are doing anything, so it's the time. Also, Jim, no, the Rob's Nephew Bleach Challenge. As long as that is, you got to be dumber than my nephew, then I'm with it. If anybody tries to get my nephew to drink bleach, I have a particular set of skills, and I don't have much money, but I do have a set of skills.
Unlimited resources.
And I will find you and I will kill you. But no, I think that the barrier should be if my 2-year-old nephew
thinks it's a bad idea,
and you do it, a DNR. Just when you come in and you're like, I drank bleach, and my nephew goes like, why you do that? Then I'm just going to be like, nope, no services, no healthcare for this person. Let them go.
He's going to be busy judging all the...
So over on TikTok, you can find me on TikTok.
The Trump death court is just a 2-year-old who walks around going like, why would you do that?
See, now I'm concerned because that could go either way. That could go to guillotines or it could go to, super Republican and like, let's put people in camps. So we got to walk over a real fine line with that.
Much like the young male in North Korea, it's just going to be Rob going like, what he told me was...
By the way, I do like that.
As the older person who watches the child, I will be...
I had the thought that a lot of the doctors...
My name's Jerry, by the way. New law. He decided Jerry's are the best.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Write
also,
it in the Constitution, I guess.
I'm allowed to have whatever haircut I want. I chose this haircut. I had the thought that... so I watched the Fox News... watched Fox News today for the president's Rose Garden press conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that everyone... who got on that stage has the persona of a North Korean general. Like, it's just like, no, you don't understand. Everything he's doing is great. It's fantastic. We are all making the best choices. Like, they're looking at him for so much approval and just like, you hear what I'm saying, right? You hear I'm being so complimentary. And then they step back and they get that Korean dancer face, like that was infamous for a while before Trump also did it at a rally and then made it weird. Where they're just like, I'm happy to be here. Yeah, no, I'm so stoked to be here. Yeah, great.
The problem has always been that if anyone seems like they're taking a little bit too much shine away from Trump, then it becomes they have to go.
Yeah.
And it's just unsuitable for the current age that we're in, that somebody who has more information than you, the dumbest person on the history of the world, is.
I have some questions, though. I have some worries. Where's Fauci?
Where is he? Like, physically, where is he?
He wasn't at the press conference today.
Okay. There has been a bit of a Fauci watch.
We haven't seen him since Thursday.
Yeah. I think the Trump or the Brad Pitt impression might have
That is my question is, did Brad Pitt appearing as Fauci
get him fired
to Trump? Because Trump has obviously been always portrayed by Alec Baldwin. And again, if this was 1995, that would be a big deal. But now it's kind of like, it's not really a complimentary portrayal. So, I don't know.
Are you saying Trump just wants Brad Pitt to play him? Would this all go away if it was like...
So
if Brad Pitt just started SNL like, hey, I'm Donald Trump.
Could Brad Pitt pull off Donald Trump? I don't know.
But do the hair because there's also a part of Trump's hair, just as a sidebar here, where I just feel like I look at like Spanish bullfighters' hair, and like or like Cristiano Ronaldo has like this perfectly like
the pompadour,
like this perfect pompadour that's just like it looks like it was sculpted with putty.
You mean like this?
Yeah,
like what I'm rocking right now,
just to keep it in perfect order and not a hair out of place.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Trump like thinks that his looks perfect, but it's like a body dysmorphia thing that like
when he
it
looks
has
at himself,
to be huge to
he
like
sees Brad Pitt as him,
right?
And he's like, my hair's perfect. Body's perfect. I'm basically Tyler Durden with a comb over. This is amazing. My tie, an appropriate length, not too long. Totally
Gotta wear a bigger suit so people don't get threatened by my 8-pack.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I am saying if Brad Pitt portrayed
if Brad
Donald
Pitt
Trump,
just went on camera like as Brad Pitt and just started saying like, like, hey, I'm the president of the United States, Donald Trump. He would just be like, finally,
I had a moment
getting
today,
the treatment I deserve.
I had a moment today during the press conference when Pence was speaking, and Trump came up to the mic.
Oh, Philip Seymour Hoffman would make an amazing Trump. It is true.
Oh, damn you, death. By the way, I'm working on this thing that I don't want to get into it. We should talk about it. It's on my sheet. We'll talk about it afterwards.
I want to go through the sheet.
Philip Seymour Hoffman, remind me of that because it's kind of important.
Okay.
Because he died in 2013 or 2014.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and that's not the important part of it. But Philip Seymour Hoffman would play a part of it.
It was probably more recently, but it's one of the. I'm sure it's one of those things where somebody else is going to be like, he died in 2008. And I'm just like, did he?
Damn. Before Obama? He didn't know about Obama? Oh. Damn.
He died during Bush. I can't even believe that.
Oh, poor guy. So I do think that Brad Pitt playing Donald Trump would end all of this. But there was a moment during the press conference.
Did you know the Bulls won their last championship in 1996? I'm just like, what?
Well,
that seems way too long ago.
Like, listen, that's not that. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, right? It seemed like it's that long ago. But there was a moment where twice or three times Trump came up to the lectern and was just like, I think Mike can handle that question. And he stepped back. And I looked at Roxy and I was like, I wonder if Trump's going to step down. Because like it was both. I realized after the fact that it's like, oh, they literally coached him. Do not answer a question. We cannot afford another fuck up. Yeah. Step back and let somebody who knows what they're saying say it. And Mike Pence, for his homophobic nonsense, knows what he's doing.
Here's the problem. In the broad strokes,
he died mid Hunger Games, Jim says. That means nothing to me. I don't know when that was. As far as I know, we're in the Hunger Games right now.
That could be 4 months ago. It could be 40 years ago. I don't know.
What year is it? What day is it? We've been doing this podcast forever.
I mean, at a certain point, Trump needs the economy to open back up before the election if he has any chance of winning.
Which is why he's pushing so hard.
That's sort of the broad strokes of him winning re-election at this moment.
By the way, watching Fox News, while Trump was speaking, both the Dow and the NASDAQ went down. And then as the experts started speaking, it went back up. And then he started taking questions, and it went down again. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, if you were Trump and you're watching this later, you got to be like, I got to stop talking, man. I got to just hand it off to somebody else that can't be responsible for this.
You know what I would do? I would walk in. I would be Hope Hicks in this situation. I would walk in.
She's still there?
She just came back.
Oh, okay. All right.
She's one of the only people Trump trusts. And I think it's just because she has like the attitude of some like boiler room character male.
Yes.
Like she's just a really good looking girl who's like a fucking Wall Street character too. Like at the same time. But she probably walks in and she's like, "Here, we did dial groups during the last press conference. Every time it goes down, it's because of you." And then he'd just be like, "Wow, that's pretty bad." It's just like, "You want to hear the worst part? It's not a dial group. It's the NASDAQ."
I just imagine.
And then, so first you hit him with the you're not as popular as other people when they're talking, and then he gets hurt by that, and then you stab him even more with the.
You said dial group, and I really just thought about that episode of The Office where Stanley has the heart monitor on, and every time Michael just gets close, he's laying down with his eyes closed, and Michael just steps closer to him, and it's like beep 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 beep. It's like somehow he knows it's me. Anyway, Jim said, as to my answer of what year is it? It's 1998, and Santana is blowing up the charts with Rob
Thomas.
Rob Thomas, and what's the name of that song? It was Smooth.
Yeah.
Make it real, or else forget about it.
I don't know if I've ever mentioned this before, but I love Santana, and there's a Santana. I mean, I'm not like a diehard Santana guy, but I really enjoy Santana.
Name another Santana song other than Smooth.
But there was a Santana song that had Chad Kroeger from Nickelback singing on it.
There was.
And
that same album, by the way. That album.
No. It was a later, because he would basically what Santana would do, he would have like one big collaboration on each one of these albums. So he had Rob Thomas on one, he had Michelle Branch on one.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
And then he had Chad Kroeger on a more recent one.
That's not a big.
But it's like the song was great. Like I loved the song, and I hate the Kroeger part of it. And I'm just like. But he kind of is perfect for it, vocally, it works so well. But at the same time, it's like do you ever have I'm listening to Gary Glitter and I'm just like, oh, now I'm thinking about him touching kids. Yeah. I can't escape the awful thing that he did.
Kroeger also did a Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it's such a good song.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it right up until the point somebody was like, that's Chad Kroeger, right? And I'm like, oh, God. No.
I do. The saving grace of that song is Josie Scott's on it too.
Yes. Yeah.
And just the first verse is Kroeger, and it's kind of like he's doing his enunciating hard into everything, and then all of a sudden Josie Scott comes in, and he's just sort of he's a hard rocker, but he's got some nice pipes. He's got a nice voice, and he just comes in and he just lays it in. I'm just like, oh yeah. I'm getting into this song.
Could save us. We're not gonna stand here and wait.
The Michelle Branch song was supposed to be Stevie Nicks, but the label said no.
Nice. We are way off topic. Corey was making an allusion earlier to North Korea, and that is because we may have some major news coming out of North Korea.
And by we may, we're still waiting.
No idea. One
of these days, the white smoke will come out of the Vatican. We'll elect a new leader of North Korea.
We have a little bit of Schrodinger's Jong over here, and I was considering which word I should go with on that.
You chose correctly, sir.
I know my audience. This is why I win secretly helping other people play apples to apples or whatever all the time.
Whatever the fucking game is.
Yeah, whatever those girls are playing all the time. So Kim Jong-Un, there were reports that came out that he had a heart attack and died.
Yeah.
And then the report changed that he did have a heart attack or some kind of heart episode. And then he went in the hospital and they had an operation and he died on the table. And then it was, so he didn't die on the table. He is in the hospital, and it's not looking good. And basically what they're trying to do is to get him to do proclamations of who takes over when I die. And, I'm going to
And then there's also
bump people up.
the president or the great leader train is outside of his like summer location, his summer home or something like that. So there's like, well, he's there clearly.
Why would the train be
he
there?
Would be somewhere where his train is. Like,
by the way, 36.
Yeah.
Same age as us.
Yeah, having a heart procedure.
I really feel like in a tastefully done parody, you could play Kim Jong-Un.
Well, let's wait until he dies first, because I don't need to have my career Seth Rogen or James Franco by this whole thing.
Fair enough. But I feel like you have enough hair that you could slick it. Like, he's got that mouth thing going right now.
The problem, though, is that I would be worried too about playing an Asian character, because
we're gonna do it totally straight. I'm gonna make you smoke a little bit beforehand, and whatever naturally occurs, and then we'll slick the hair back.
I just started with, by the way, for this impression, he's white.
I mean, what I was picturing is
I'm the great leader of North Korea. I'm white for some reason, and scene.
What I was picturing is just you delivering it in English, and that's all. Oh, we know some Korean people who could translate it into Korean, and
you don't want me to work on the Korean.
No, absolutely not. Do not. Listen, Schrodinger's Jong was walking a little bit of a line, but you doing a Korean accent, not good.
Roberto and I have been talking about doing TikTok content where he says something in Spanish and then he gives me a piece of paper with it on it, and I try and say it with like blind read it.
I think that'd be good.
Yeah, it would be pretty funny.
Dumb white guy says. Can we call it that? Boy, that would be Blanco. I don't know what dumb is. Blanco estúpido se dice.
Yeah.
Blanco estúpido se dice. Anyway.
Just put a little bumper at the bottom.
Yes. No, I don't want you to work on your Korean accent. I feel like we crossed a line into racism way before that. You do it in English, we'll overdub it in Korean.
Okay.
It'll be almost funnier that way. That you're speaking clearly in English and it's dubbed into Korean and you're playing Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
But Jim gives you advice. Don't do it, Corey. They'll kill you. So
cool.
His likely successor has been kind of pointed out, and I have been calling her, because it is a her, Kim Jong, because
why not?
I've never been attracted to a member of the Kim family, but then I saw her and I was like, you know what? What is up? But then come to find out those pictures might have been photoshopped, which is not surprising because, you know, DPRK
makes you wonder what Kim Jong-Un looked like this whole time.
Oh, that's the best
job
you could
of
do?
the hut.
That's the best you could do. Oh, and we skipped over the fact that
if there wasn't a video of him meeting Trump, I wouldn't.
Well, and so there's a big, very important parade coming up. It's the 60th anniversary of the People's Army. And he will be required at the parade. And the question is, if he is alive, he must be there. If he is not there, it will be assumed that he's dead. There is no in between. If he's not there, he might as well be
There's
dead.
no way he says, I don't feel like going to this.
Yes, this is not one of those things. This is something that his grandfather did, that his father did several times, like 30th and 50th, and then he is required to do it. Not 50th. He would have, 50th, yes. 94 to 2011? Yes, it would have been the last year that he was in charge. His father did it. Now he's here 10 years later, and he needs to do the 60th. So, question: is there a chance they weakened at Bernie's Kim Jong-un for this parade?
I think there is a chance
because
I don't know.
State media.
Yeah.
You don't know what? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, I
want
don't know
the secret DPRK killers to come for you, not me.
No, I'm just saying, like, I feel like if it got to the point where they're trying to, like, maybe delay the news a little bit more, they might do the he had to be rushed in for a completely non-emergency medical procedure. It's serious, but it's not life-threatening. But unfortunately, he's not going to be able to attend the parade.
Yes.
Because
or he's got kids. His kid was sick.
He got a bad staph infection because, you know, like he stepped on a rusty nail and the person who didn't pound it down is now dead.
Don't worry. We took care of that.
We took care of that person who gave our great leader tetanus.
Yes.
But he can't go anywhere.
Wait. Great leader is... No. Great leader is grandpa. Dear leader is
Oh, that's
father.
right. I forgot
he
there.
is something.
Beloved or something.
Beloved leader, maybe?
I think so.
Yeah. Glorious leader and great leader is grandpa. Dear leader was dad. I think he is beloved leader.
Yeah.
By the way. Really? Come on, Korea. Get your shit together. Also, 17 million people starving. Get your shit together.
Yeah.
You're showing communism to be bad. That's all I'm saying. It's like, maybe a little less with the dictatorial regime, a little more with the communism.
Well, maybe Yo will sort it out.
And that's the thing is, one, Kim Il-sung basically said, no woman will ever run this country. I'm giving it to my son. He should give it to his son. I don't think he imagined that his insanely morbidly obese grandson would have a heart attack at 36, not have a male heir who's ready. He does have a son who was born in 2013, so that kid's 7 now, 8 maybe. So yeah, I mean, there is a male, and that was Corey's discussion about the Child King earlier. Like,
it's been a long time since we've had a Child King.
Long time.
It would be fun.
One who the president really wants to deal with, because he loves Kim Jong-Un.
Yeah,
and he would definitely go have an audience with the 8-year-old successor.
Yeah,
probably the most successful state visit Trump has.
He'd probably bring Barron.
Well, I know. No, I was thinking that he was on the level of the 8-year-old dictator of a.
Well, I'm saying intellectually, yes, but I'm saying I imagine he would bring his 8-year-old son. Just be like,
I'm saying that the Korean guy would be the dictator of a nation of 17
million.
How
old is Barron these days? Is he driving yet?
No, yeah, he's a teenager. But my point is, he's a dictator, an 8-year-old dictator of a starving nation of 17 million people. I don't want him to pick up any bad habits from Barron. That's what I'm saying. Barron is a bad influence on everyone around him.
Don't hang out with Barron. He's a bad influence.
I don't want my kid. Listen,
the least talked about Trump, Barron. Well, Tiffany.
My son once executed his uncle with an anti-aircraft gun at the age of 4. Listen, I don't want him hanging out with your son just because I feel like your son's a bit of a bad influence. He sicked dogs on his little sister just so there was no challenge to the throne. But Barron seems like a little bit of a problem child, if you know what I mean. So I'd like to keep him a little further apart, if possible.
Before we close off with some sports ball, did you want to get into the AMC and theater news too?
Yeah, we talked about it like a little bit at the top. We've been talking about theaters, and the thing that I miss most is the one thing that I leave the house to do, which is to go to the movies. And AMC theaters, or theaters in Georgia, Tennessee, Texas, and 9 other states are open today, or will be open by Friday. I think I misspoke in our pre-show meeting, and I said they're all open, but they all announced that they'll be open. Georgia's open, Texas is open, Tennessee is open. Some other places will be opening this week, but all 12 states in all by May 1st, which is Friday. And AMC Theater in Georgia is getting sued by their landlord for not paying rent, which is just the most capitalist, ironic thing I've ever heard of in my life. Like, $1 billion.
We're dangerously getting close to where we have to explain to ourselves that all money is theoretical.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, we are clearly in late stage capitalism right now.
Because I mean, technically, if there was a. If this was a loaning money situation, I loan you $20.
Yeah.
You say, I'll pay you back tomorrow.
Yeah.
I just need to stop at the ATM. And then you go. And then between when I give it to you and later that night, you've lost all your money in some sort of
pyramid scheme.
Yeah. Or somebody hacked into your account and transferred all your money to their account. And now you're completely.
Because we insulted the beloved leader.
Yeah. Something like that. Something happened.
Live on the internet. Yeah.
And then you come to me and say, hey, that $20 I said I would get back to you? Bit of a situation. I'm going to have to delay giving it to you because of this extenuating circumstance.
Extreme extenuating circumstance. Yes.
And then as a normal, everyday human with compassion, I would say, of course, give it back to me whenever you can. I'm not going to demand it immediately. And, there's something that could be said about people who own property. If they don't get charged tax or have to pay on the property.
Is the key.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying if they don't have to pay on the property, then the people who are leasing or renting space inside don't have to pay on the property. And it's basically like we're in a dead zone for a period of time while the coronavirus is still making waves. But then
You've described a very logical answer to the scenario.
But then
Corey.
the argument becomes, when do we kick that back in, and when do people start making money again? Because if somebody like I don't know, I'm gonna pick out somebody who owns land, Kushner. If Kushner's not getting rent, then he's not making that money. And even though he's not paying, he's getting more money in rent than he is paying on the property. And while he can do without for a few months, I'm sure. He's not going to give up the
No. It's a profit making.
even if it was wiped clean, he doesn't want to give up the opportunity of making more money in this time.
So the irony is that your first scenario, as described, seems a lot more logical than what we've chosen to do, which is we, the federal government, are going to give AMC money to pay its rent. It will pay the rent to the landlord so that the landlord can pay the property taxes
to the government.
Which funds the money it was given to AMC. A little bit of a snake eating its tail.
Well, and I mean, like, a lot of people were getting on Ruth Chris and Shake Shack and all that, all these other companies that were taking money out of the PPP, even though they had
small business fund, by the way.
Well, I mean, and I here's part of the problem with that. I know that shareholders for companies like Shake Shack are saying to, the executive board,
why aren't you?
Every single one of your locations has less than 50 people.
Yep.
It is put in there as a loophole in this thing. You're stupid if you're not taking it because it's free money or low interest money at a time where we desperately need money.
Yep.
Do it. And then they go like, oh yeah, makes sense. And then they do it. And then people are just like, I'm never eating at Shake Shack again. And I understand why somebody's anger can go to that. Like, the fund is gone because Shake Shack and Ruth Chris took so much money.
$50 million between them.
Yeah. Right. And a bunch of other companies too had done similar things under similar circumstances. But I mean, like, there's still I wouldn't necessarily expect when I get my next dividend check that it's going to be as robust as it had been during any other normal period of time in American history.
Yes.
I'm not expecting the any stock that I'm getting to be given,
and ignoring that part,
right?
Because Shake Shack's argument, Ruth Chris' argument was, we need the money because we don't have doors open now, and we want to pay people
right
to continue to as if they were working,
right.
And why those people, by the way, what do they need money for? They need money for food, for lodging. There's nothing else to spend it on except for things you need to spend it on.
I would also make the argument that people think that just because you've heard of the business means that it's a big, huge business. Well,
I've gotten a Ruth Chris steak. It cost me $52 for $5 worth of beef. So
I get where you're coming from with that. And you would say like, oh, I hope those Ruth Chris would have saved for some moment like this and stuff like that. But then
but I don't argue
all
that.
Those people who have those jobs should, there's no reason that somebody who works at Ruth Chris, of one of 30 people who are on the staff at an individual Ruth Chris, should be cut out of being able to make their regular check because of
right. And that's why I don't say this. What I say is, why are we cut out the middleman? Because if we had not Andrew Yang's, because Andrew Yang doesn't understand the concept of what I'm going to say, but if we had a universal basic income, which rich or poor, no matter what, you get $1,500 per month to live on.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to give a business money to support its workers, because we would look and say, hey, this is what the UBI is for. It's for in a time of emergency when you cannot work, something is paid for. And
see, and I think the idea of a UBI in times like this are way more understandable than
normal, right?
Yeah.
But why? Why is it more understandable right now? Because, by the way, Ralph's employees have not got a raise. They are making the same amount of money now to risk infection from me that they were 6 weeks ago.
Well, no, but here's the extenuating logic. So, like, I'm gonna have to get unemployment here, right? I am going to get that money. I'm not going to be expected to pay it back because of the circumstances involved.
Yeah.
I have to show that I'm making some sort of effort to get jobs, but that effort goes as far as I can't work because everything is shut down. Yeah. So I can't do
I can't do my typical work.
I can't do the work I'm trained to do.
And I can't go get a full-time job because no one's hiring. And by the way, if they were, as soon as this is done, I'm leaving to go back to my gig work.
Right.
So that's not good for anyone.
Yeah. And, at some point, it's not like it's free money now for me, and I don't have to pay it back in terms of like they're asking for a check next year when I'm doing well. But the government is paying for it in taxes that they're going to collect from us.
Sure.
And at some point, that money is going to have to be paid by the people who pay taxes. So, I mean, like, it's like one of those, like, one of these days, this money will be paid out of taxes that I and other people.
But if we had a UBI,
yeah,
and it was understood that this much of the budget every year is set
but
aside
you're
for a
essentially
UBI.
paying for the money of you and the others.
What do you mean?
So I'm saying, like, if the government is giving you $1,500 a month, right? They have to raise enough money to have $1,500 a month per person. And to get that much money, they have to have a certain amount of taxes that are being raised.
How about this?
To create that pot of money.
Let's keep the taxes exactly the same and not murder brown children with drones in third world countries.
I mean, perfectly reasonable use asset, but regardless of whether or not, if everything else was gone, if the only thing the government did was the UBI,
yes,
they would still have to raise the amount of money to do it. And I mean, like, the reason for an argument on universal health care is a lot more interesting now than it was before Corona.
Yes.
Because it used to be people want to keep the health insurance that they negotiated through their job, because it's better than whatever they think the government healthcare plan is going to be.
Yeah.
But now when everyone loses their jobs and you don't have healthcare all of a sudden, then the idea of having it linked to your job is not as interesting anymore.
Also, my health insurance is only as strong as yours, because when you cough on me in line at Ralph's, maybe I should be pushing you to get health insurance so that you go to the doctor when you feel bad.
Yeah.
Because me going to the doctor when I feel bad could have been stopped at you.
Well, yeah,
But
and I get that, but I'm saying, like, at the very least, with a conversation about universal health as opposed to universal basic income, is that we're moving costs from one place to the other.
Yes.
Like, we're paying less in terms of what we're paying to insurance, but we're paying more to the government in order to.
How is UBI not the same thing?
But I'm saying it's a completely added cost. At
No.
some point, this is going to.
Why?
How do you make the money for? So you say you make $100 a week, just to make it even, right? And 20 of that is spent on rent, right?
Okay.
So regardless of what you make other than that, you have to make at least the $20 for rent.
Yep.
Right? You're going to have, if you add another thing in there and you want to keep everything even, the $100 that you've been spending every week, in line with the $100 that you've been making, then you're going to need to make more money in order to pay for the extra thing. So if you throw in an extra $20 for universal basic income for Roxy, then But your argument is that somehow health is shifting a cost, but UBI is not shifting a cost. It's not. At a certain point, you're adding money to be able to fund this thing.
I mean, but what about unemployment? What about there are
safety net things that
we can remove those, because the UBI becomes all of those things. We remove unemployment. You don't need unemployment. You have basic income. That's what that's unemployment. You get it all the time, no matter what. And if you make more than the basic, you pay more taxes. Therefore, we are making up the difference.
The problem, much like the conversation we were having before we started about the unemployment thing in California, like it's all well wishes and great in theoretical broad strokes. It doesn't work.
No, it absolutely does work.
It doesn't work. No, it doesn't work.
No,
at a certain point, we used to deal with this a lot more when we cared about the deficit and stuff like that, where people would be talking about like, oh, Social Security is going to go under because there's not enough money in Social Security, and when all these people get older, there's not going to be enough money pumped in to be able to keep the next generation alive. Like all that. Yeah. It's always been a concern about how we're going to make enough money for the entitlees. Because people take from one to the other. Yeah.
That's why. Because we can't stop spending money murdering brown children in third world countries to pay for our own things.
But I'm saying,
we're borrowing Social Security every single day to go build bombs and drones and planes and aircraft carriers. If we stop that, everything will be fine. If we stop borrowing against the pay-as-you-go Social Security system, or if we stop the pay-as-you-go and make Social Security what it's supposed to be, we would have a bunch of money available.
I just don't want to go back. I don't want to go into a system where I know I'm going to be paying into it for the rest of my life and never get it.
So you are in that system right now.
Yeah, I know.
If it's a savings account system, you absolutely will not be. That's the point.
Yeah.
The system I'm suggesting means that you won't be. And UBI is paid for by itself. I understand. You're not unprepared for it. Or you're not prepared for it. It's fine.
It's not prepared. It's just that I've reached my end of conversation about UBI.
It's a battle of wits. You came unarmed. So, sports ball, right? Is that where we're going next? Is that what you wanted to talk about?
Let's finish off on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, a couple things before we get out of here, because there were sports-related things.
Yes, kind of.
I'd like to start with the NFL draft.
All right. I'm just going to put this on you and you can talk, because I have no idea what happened.
Well, so it was a digital draft, and everyone drafted from home, including...
they did boo the commissioner.
Yeah, they're... because Roger Goodell is basically a walking, talking PowerPoint presentation brought to life. The NFL thought it was a great idea that they sponsored the booing of the commissioner, which now is going to be a thing. Like when we have a NFL draft in public again, there's going to be like, oh, those boos brought to you by Bud Light Seltzer. Like,
it raised money for charity, though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And you know, it's. I feel like Roger Goodell did a really good job doing the task while also being the boringest man alive at the same exact time. It's almost unprecedented that somebody could do a good job while also doing it with no flair or showmanship whatsoever.
Did you see Tom Hanks open SNL at home?
Yeah.
Get that.
No, I mean, like, if you had that.
Oh,
like,
no. I feel like it was just like, he mailed it in and it's fine.
I mean, Goodell doesn't have Hanks' charisma. That's the...
Are you complimenting Tom Hanks? Oh, God, I don't even... Where am I? I have slipped into an alternate dimension right now. I am on a different timeline.
I like Hanks.
You don't watch Hanks because you see Hanks in every movie.
I like Hanks as a person. I like Hanks on SNL. I like Hanks.
You like America's Dad Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
You just don't like actor Tom Hanks playing a character.
I enjoy actor Tom Hanks. He doesn't escape the role that he's playing.
The Da Vinci Hanks. Yes, I get it. Yeah.
I'm saying like this happens with other people too. You know, if I saw Jay Muse in a movie, I'm not like...
Who would put up with Jay Muse on set?
I'm not like, who is that fucking FBI agent? I just can't... I know I recognize him, but I can't put my thumb on it. Like,
yeah.
Like, that's what I'm talking...
Okay.
I was talking about, you know, like Lily James. Like, I feel like I've seen her in like 5 movies, and every time I see her, I'm just like, who is that woman? And then I look it up, and I'm just like, Lily James again! Like,
got me.
How did I miss it? But anyway,
Kerry Washington, I really like her in that stuff too. I'm watching Little Fires on HBO,
Yeah.
and I knew it was her, but then I keep forgetting it's her because she looks so. It's not Olivia. It's rough around the edges, hippie.
And that's my only complaint about Hanks. I like Hanks the person. I like Hanks the entertainer. I find him funny and charming and everything, just like everyone else does. I enjoy when he's in a movie because he's talented.
Yes. But
that movie, whatever it may be, is going to have a hard time making me think that he's really Sully because every time I see him, I'm not... If it was some unknown actor who played Sully, it would be a lot easier for me to go like, oh, I'm just following Sully here. You know, that's all. That's the point.
But Brad Pitt doesn't have that problem.
Brad Pitt
Leo DiCaprio
can have that problem, but then there's times where I just the movie can be so fascinating that I'm not, and maybe that's part of the, you know, like I forget that it's Leo, even though Leo's the only person on screen in Revenant.
Yeah,
but it's because the action is so fierce, and you stop thinking of it in terms of like
Hanks picks boring movies too.
No, I'm not saying Jesus. Come on. I'm just saying, like,
never gonna work in this town, Baker. Never gonna work in this town. I just hear you insulting Tom Hanks and Leo DiCaprio. Oh gosh.
Anywho, the NFL draft happened. It was all digital. There were family who, like, kids who were like in live shots with like coaches as they're making picks and stuff like that. And it's all really nice. They leaned really heavy into the human interest stories, which I was not as interested in, and I think everyone like. Nobody wants to, you know, like, you know, with the 3rd pick, we taken Rob Cheek, and it's just like, oh, he had a really tragic childhood. His dad died when he was 8, and you're just like,
it's American Idol, right?
He made a promise to him that one day he would get in the NFL, and I know that his dad is very happy that this day has finally come.
It's American Idol.
Going to the Buffalo Bills.
American Idol. It's like
Right.
everything is a human interest story of one thing or another. It's like we got 4,000 people out there
And
waiting to get drafted.
And when somebody doesn't have it, you wonder if their problem was just not good enough to make the cut.
Yeah.
Grandma died. It's like, well, yeah, grandma's dead.
Like if I had been drafted, they would have been like, Rob Cheek, middle class, white, rural
Preacher's
areas?
son.
Preacher's son. I mean, every advantage in the world ended up in the NFL. I don't know what to tell you.
He has speed. He has hands. His one problem is that he does have a lot of very motivated political speech that he does on his podcast, which has raised flags amongst many GMs.
Listen, Colin Kaepernick, really famous for taking a knee. Cheek refuses to pray before a game. In fact, he spits on the people who are praying outside the circles. So, could be troublesome. Ray Lewis is a coach on this team. We feel like they might bust heads.
I would like to. So a couple NFL draft things I'd just like to throw in real quick.
Go ahead.
Number one, I love Cliff Kingsbury's house. It's the thing I aspire to. You're gonna need to see this at some point. It's incredible. Belichick. So one of the things I really enjoy about this is that everything is branded and. Like, so all the people I think had Surface earbuds.
Yeah.
So like or Surface headphones. So when they get the call, they're supposed to like put on the Surface headphones. And like when you look in on the offices of all the things, it's like the Microsoft Surface Studio, Surfaces all over the place. And then they cut to Belichick, like in his place in Martha's Vineyard or whatever. And he's just like, the only thing he has on his table is an old Toshiba laptop and like a MacBook. Like right next to each other, like almost like he's sitting there like, fuck you guys. I'm not using your goddamn Surface.
I'm surprised he wasn't
send me the Surface and I threw it in the trash.
I was surprised they just like, we're going to go to Bill Belichick, and it's just like him in Boston standing outside of a burning barrel like, hey guys, how's it going? I'm super excited for the draft. Yeah. I'll drink the wine with you later, Marty. Hang on a sec.
There's one where like Marty Morningway.
Yes, I mean not, but yes. Somebody else who's standing around a barrel right now, hopefully.
Okay, I'm gonna have to share that one too. Another Belichick moment that I really enjoyed was his dog took his seat, like so his like, like a husky or something like that like just jumped into the kitchen chair that Bill had been sitting in. So like they cut to the like, let's see what Belichick's up to, and it's just a dog in front of a computer, and just like they're not gonna make a first round pick anyway. It's fine. The dog can sit there. They're just talking about trades. It's not.
Also,
thank God that none of these things had like live mic situations going on. Like they just went to a muted video of whoever sitting there, like, talking with kids. Yeah, it was very much like that. And thank God, because I know at some point like they would have just cut to like Mike Zimmer, just like fuck Bill, fuck him in his ass, like. Oh, we shouldn't have gone live with the mics.
Not everything should be mic'd. That's what we learned tonight. All right, yes.
But I mean, like, surprisingly, I thought that they did an incredible job, like, putting it all together and giving us something that felt like a distraction and felt like I miss sports, and I don't much care for watching old games because I know what happens. Like that's my problem. Like I just want something new. And at least with the draft, it's something new. Like you're waiting for who your team is going to take. And generally speaking, just to get it out, I don't know about any of these players. I just know what I hear about them. The Ravens are getting glowing draft grades all across the board, as they do almost always. Mm-hmm. And I know I'm especially doing well when I check in on Steelers Twitter. And it is going fucking nuts with...
You left, what's his name on the table, right?
Well, like J.K. Dobbins, the running back in the second round, like apparently Steeler fans like were really looking forward to getting him. And the Ravens have him instead, and I am very happy about that.
Best meme was the...
jumping off the roof.
No. That one was good. The Ravens team next year with Lamar, Dobbins, and
Ingram.
Yeah. And it's like the little girl in the four-wheeler running over the guy, the boy. I'm like, yep, that's basically it.
There was some tweet that was like, after setting the NFL record for rushing last year with 3,000, the Ravens are going out to set a new record with 10,000 this year.
It's like, we're just not even going to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Just like who's going to run it? All three of us just line back up here. And let's get a long snapper where he can just like snap it to the left or the right or down the middle.
Now, there were a bunch of interesting storylines that came up along the way. One of them I just wanted to mention because Marty got brought up. Apparently, he's working in some way in the Eagles.
Okay.
And for people who may not remember Marty Morningleg as well, we've talked about him extensively on the show.
Corey hates him.
But he is the worst offensive coordinator ever. And the second that he got fired, Lamar Jackson just opened up and became this incredible quarterback.
Weird. Weird how that worked.
But Marty has managed to get a new job with the Eagles, and they drafted a quarterback in the second round. And
somebody new to
he
ruin.
made some sort of remark, apparently, that he was the person who found and unlocked Lamar, and he thinks that a similar thing could happen with this second-round draft pick. And maybe he will, maybe he won't. But I don't really like Marty like going around going like, yeah, that Lamar thing, that was all me. Like,
I feel like it's just getting up hopes for people like Rob Clark. And nope, your team's going to suck next year, too. Don't worry about it.
As long as you got Marty, you have the unescapable stench of defeat on you.
Yep. And distractions, though. Distractions are usually what we try to avoid in the draft. You don't want to bring on somebody on the team who's going to distract everything. Except for the Patriots, apparently, who drafted a...
Maybe this one was done by Bill's Doug.
Oh, maybe. I don't want to say a known racist, but a known racist kicker. To this.
Maybe Bill's dog, Titus Andromaca.
So he was a kicker, right? Kicker drafted to the Patriots.
Yeah.
I didn't really get into the story. I saw that they like the tattoo and then basically his explanation of the tattoo.
I heard just a lot of periphery things, and
Yeah,
I haven't been able to like actually sit down and read an article, which is why I was coming to Rob going like, well, what I heard was, and
so here's the deal. The Patriots drafted a kicker, and in his promo picture, I guess, he's holding a football, and he has...
I think he had like his arms folded or something like that.
This?
Yeah.
But he has a tattoo on one of his forearms. I guess it's probably this one that the pictures are...
I think it was like the left, like right
left
here.
on the arm?
Yeah, like right underneath the elbow.
And it's a very recognizable image of 3 Roman numerals surrounded by stars. And that is...
Roman numeral for 3.
It's
3 eyes.
3 eyes surrounded by... Yeah, 3 eyes surrounded. Roman numeral 3. And that is the symbol for what is called the 3%er movement. Now, Corey... Do you know what the 3%er movement is?
I didn't know about it until the draft.
Why don't you explain to people what your understanding of the 3%er movement is?
Well, what I heard was that I should put it through the frame of what I heard from him. I guess.
Yeah. That's what I was looking for. Like, what did you hear him say about it?
What I heard, and again, this is paraphrased because I didn't actually go deep into any. I just sort of saw these things and didn't have a chance to get into it. But what apparently he was saying was like, he had gotten this tattoo before this group had become a thing, and it sort of happened after. It'd be like if you got like a Pepe Frog tattoo,
and then
all of a sudden like Pepe Frog became the thing that all the racists use in their memes.
Yeah,
and you're just like, no, I really like this obscure comic before, and now everyone's turning into a racist thing.
By the way, I watched Stuber. Right, Stuber?
Or maybe like if you were really excited when Gritty became a thing and you got a Gritty tattoo right away, and then all of a sudden Gritty became like Occupy.
And it became way more awesome? Yeah, Corey, that's exactly it. So the 3%er movement is this. I don't know if you know this, Corey, but during the time of the American Revolution, only 3% of the population were actively involved in the revolution.
Okay.
That's where 3%er comes from.
Okay.
Like, I am a 3%er. I will be one of the 3% that actively seeks to overthrow the government.
Okay.
Which I could totally get behind.
Yeah.
And when he says...
3%'s not enough people, by the way.
It worked once.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, now it's not going to...
Why not?
Government's got drones and shit.
Yeah. I would tell you to go to Iraq and Afghanistan and tell them government's got drones and shit, and just see what they have to say about that. The free people of Iraq and Afghanistan who have pushed America out like
Good enough point.
But nonetheless, also, you ever been to Texas? They got some crazy shit. Did you watch Tiger King? Did you see what he was doing? They got crazy guns available.
Listen up, motherfucker.
So, fucking Carol Baskins. So, the 3%er movement, despite what this kicker may have said about it being a recent thing, is not a recent thing. It is a long-standing long-standing tradition. Now, how long it goes back, I can't say for sure, but I can tell you that Timothy McVeigh, after Ruby Ridge, printed the 3%er symbol, the 3 Roman numerals, on a pamphlet that he took to Waco.
The one that's tattooed on the Patriot.
Very similar to
Patriot.
it. Yes, a version of that. Now, to you millennials, none of those 3 things I just said may make any sense. You may not know what Ruby Ridge, Timothy McVeigh, or Waco are. Probably Waco of any of those things. But Timothy McVeigh would then later drive a U-Haul truck up to the side of the Murrah building in Oklahoma City and commit the largest act of domestic terrorism up into that point. And I think since as well. 185 people killed.
I mean, wouldn't Vegas be more?
185 people were killed.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
If we're talking just purely body count, Tim McVeigh still has that. The length of the attack and maybe the injury count. No, the injury count was huge too. Not important. So here's the thing. In 92, Ruby Ridge to Waco, 3%ers were a thing.
Yeah.
The problem is that it's a
militia. Up until that point where he was born, it was a thing.
It was, I don't know how old this kid is, but I'm guessing
he'd have to be 21 or under.
Yeah.
So 1999, that is past Waco.
God damn, somebody who's 21 was born in 99?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I remember 1999.
Because you have to be 3 years. I mean, I guess you could be 22, but at 98, 99.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean when we were in high school, he was born?
Yeah.
Yep. Old as hell. All right. Anyway, point being, it was a thing at least up to that point. Now, it was always a militia symbol. That was the thing. Like Michigan militia is always you 3%er. That's their thing. Like we're going to overthrow the government, right? But after that, after 9/11, it really turned into a more we're racist thing.
Yeah.
Like militias kind of went the way of like either you're Occupy and you're anti-fascist, or you're a 3%er and you're kind of fascist.
When I think militia, I think Trump supporter. I think the type of person who is actively trying to like assemble a stockpile to...
Much like any other things, liberals just can't get organized. So the militias really are conservative Trump supporters who have feelings about people of color. The 3%er movement has now become a movement of...
Far right, too. Like, because George Will isn't, like, putting together a militia.
No.
Yeah.
And they are now like the build the wall, like the guys who are patrolling the border, shooting people on the Mexican side are 3%ers.
They literally call themselves militia too.
Yes.
Yeah.
They are citizens militia.
Yeah.
A bunch of people in Michigan who were the same group that Timothy McVeigh spawned from, and Terry Nichols was a member of them. He brought McVeigh into that militia, who is very racist. And you don't think of Michigan as being racist, but there's a very high Islamic community there.
They have huge militia rules too. Like I think they have more militias than any other.
There are more militiamen in Michigan than there are state police or National Guard in Michigan.
Yeah.
So that's how that works. So the 3%er movement has even, you could have argued in 92, it was just an anti-government movement. But after 9/11, it became very much a anti-immigration, anti-people of color. Like, let's bring back basically anybody who voted for Donald Trump. Let's make America great again, which means let's go back to 1950 where white guys were running everything and it wasn't a problem. So this kid can say what he wants to say. And maybe if he grew up in Orange County, he only heard of like 3%ers as a militia group, but likely he's a secret racist. And as a reminder to everyone, Colin Kaepernick cannot get a job in the NFL.
Right.
A guy who took a team to the Super Bowl and lost to the Baltimore Ravens. But this guy...
5 years ago?
What?
We're 5 years out of Kaepernick's Super Bowl?
Jesus Christ.
Is that it?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Was the Superdome Super Bowl 5 years ago?
I believe so.
No, more than that. It was 2012, right?
Can't remember.
Has Ray Lewis been out of the league for 8 years? I feel like it was 2012.
He was...
We are old.
We are old.
Anyway, he can say what he wants. But my point being that he's a likely racist. He's at least a militia supporter, like an anti-government guy. He got a job.
Yeah.
And Colin Kaepernick cannot get a job for taking a knee against police violence against people of color.
Right.
Which is really goddamn sad. But listen, 3%ers, if you want to, give up the racist stuff, I'd like to organize a liberal, anti-fascist militia. They're also scared of guns, though. That's the problem. Goddamn liberals. You guys just can't get out of your own damn way.
One last thing.
Yes.
In SportsBall before we go, the Jordan doc, which
yes.
you didn't catch up on, but
I haven't seen episodes 3 and 4, but I did watch 1 and 2. Wait,
let
me ask you, did they get to the Hitler mustache in the Hanes commercial?
Not yet.
Okay.
Something tells me they're not going to touch on that because Jordan signed off on this thing. I don't know how much they want to throw Jordan under the bus.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to get to a place with this thing where I really enjoy it. I really want to watch it. And it's, Sunday when it's out, I want to sit down and watch both episodes that are available to me. I just enjoy the subject matter. I don't think that they're doing a good enough job to tell the best version of the story.
Yeah.
And that's something that's worrying me a little bit.
Well, if Jordan approved it, it's probably not the most revealing documentary.
Well, no, but I'm saying there's a little bit of things I remembered after I heard other people talk about them after the fact. Rodman was on Oprah where he had an interview. You should YouTube it. Dennis Rodman on Oprah.
96 or
yeah,
something?
And Oprah is doing everything she can to not offend her more homophobic audience by putting things in terms of very base level, broad strokes.
Again, for you millennials, Oprah wasn't Oprah in 96. Oprah was fighting against Donahue and Jenny Jones and Ricky Lake. And when she was one of
in
several.
In 96, the spectrum of sexuality was straight, gay, or bi.
Yeah.
And bi was, in the opinion of many, was well, you're really gay, but you're just
I don't want to go all the way.
Yeah. Or there were people who were you're selfish. You're, those types of, that kind of thing was out there and prevalent in 96.
I had forgot. You just want both sexes, don't you?
You just want it all. It's just clearly the person who's doing this thing that'll alienate them from people is doing it because they're so selfish,
Gosh.
But anyway, and Rodman goes on there and he's talking about, really interesting things in today's parlance, but in 96. Yeah. Just well, I'm not gay, but you can't ever ask somebody whether or not they are gay without thinking about it.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, and even if you derive some level of pleasure out of it, does it mean that you're a little bit gay? I mean, I wouldn't go all the way and sleep with a man, but if I think about it and the idea of it is pleasurable to me, at least in a thought, does that mean something?
And makes me think of Ron White. When you watch porn, you like guys with tiny flaccid cocks. No, I like big throbbing. He's and there you go. Yeah.
So I mean, that was illuminating at the time. It would be illuminating now if Kevin Durant went on and had a conversation like that with Oprah.
But in 96.
In 96, it was people were looking at Rodman this weird asshole who
was he dating Madonna at the time too?
And Carmen Electra.
God, man. What a life.
And others. I can't remember all
and
the
then went
people.
to North Korea. Leopard print hair.
He has a really fascinating life.
Here's the documentary for you.
Well, so much of his life has been on reality TV, I'm sure.
Oh, that's true too.
There's plenty of footage.
Oh well.
But yeah, I just feel we're it's a really interesting subject matter. I'm gonna watch all 10 episodes. I don't feel like it's on the same level as that OJ 10-part doc.
Oh yeah, no.
Which was super fascinating and super
not approved by OJ, by the way.
Well, yeah, but I mean, OJ's not gonna approve any doc that's not if I did it.
By the way, the guy who wrote a book saying if I did it,
yeah.
This is how I would have done it.
So they tells me that he had a different idea for the cover, and he just brought the book into the whoever Simon and Schuster, and they just can we call it If You Did It? And it's just I really don't want to put that kind of thing out there, but you're telling me I'll sell a lot more books if I do it.
Way more books. Way more books. All right, let's do it.
How much of this can you divert to Florida and not Ron Goldman?
Turns out 0%. Ron Goldman is the victim.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
Ron Goldman's dad.
But isn't he Ron Goldman too?
Oh, is he? The mustache. That's all I can just picture the mustache.
Yeah, I don't want to go any further. I don't remember what.
Nonetheless, rightfully so, the estate of Ron Goldman got all the money from the book of If I Did It by O.J. Simpson. So,
thank God for the lax civil court system that allowed that to happen.
Oh yes, that OJ was found guilty of murder. Yeah. Yes, that's absolutely great.
Anyway, that is it for Sports Ball.
Oh, yeah. Should I play this?
Yeah, might as well.
All right. And all right.
Well, you know what that music means.
Sports Ball?
It's time to go to OTheAnthem.com. Core to OTheAnthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's the number again?
443-219-7595. And, there's been a lot of chatter in the Facebook chat today. I love to see that.
Yeah.
Voicemails are great, too. Like, if you want to leave a voicemail and say a little something, and we'll play it on the show, we talk about it, you can do that at the listener line, 443-219-7595. And more of me. What?
There you go. You already said the number.
I was getting to it. I just wanted to do the one more time. Just
stuff.
You can find more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoreyBakerFilm, and at Legend2B5 on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And I got to figure out more review stuff to do.
This is a brand new episode of the review up, right?
I'm still walking that line of like, how am I going to tackle old things? So
yep.
I would like to have something out this week in that regard. So check it out.
Well, and of course, you can find me at Robert N. Cheek on our social networks. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com, where you can find a link to the Everyman Movie Review, which will have new episodes 2 a week, every single week, no matter what. The theme this week is documentary. The theme next week is going to be... No, theme this week is LA. Theme next week is documentary.
Okay.
I think. No. This week's documentary, next week's music. That's what it is. LA Originals was up last Sunday. Turns out I never made Jay and Silent Bob public. So that was Thursday's episode. And then Sunday's episode is going to be the Amanda Knox documentary, I believe. And then coming up after that, I have an amazing, amazing movie called Searching for Sugarman, which...
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that?
God, I feel like I know I saw some of it at some point.
It is about an unknown musician who was bigger than Elvis in South Africa, but only in South Africa.
Yeah.
And it is a crazy story that I was thoroughly entertained. You'll find out whether or not it's worth your time. Everyman Movie Review. You can find that at youtube.com/Rob Cheek.
In case you don't want to watch Everyman Movie Review, everything's worth seeing.
No, not everything. Here's the thing.
99.9% of things are worth seeing.
A lot of it is. And basically, I take the context of, I'm going to explain to you what the movie is so you know whether or not you're going to like it. I think most of it's worth my while. The problem is I'm only doing 2 a week.
I do enjoy the when you put out the caveats of like 2 or 3 things. It's just like, were you born in the 80s? Probably going to like this movie.
Yeah. Listen, Jay and Silent Bob, if you don't like View Askew, you are not going to like Jay and Silent Bob's reboot. It's only for View Askew fans. Like, right. I think I said in the review, there were 4 of us watching. 2 of us, Corey and I, big fans of Kevin Smith. The other 2 couldn't tell who Kevin Smith was. They did not enjoy it. We thoroughly enjoyed it. That's the thing. It's like, yeah, this is a cool movie, but if you don't know, if you haven't
seen anything that led up to it,
there's a moment where they walk in to talk to Jason Lee, and I'm not 100% sure which character in the View Askew universe Jason Lee is playing in that moment. Like, is he playing the comic book writer, or is he playing the other guy? And I'm like, oh, he's the writer. Okay, this is the writer. He's like Banky, I think.
Banksy.
Huh?
No.
Banky.
Yeah, Banky Edwards. Sorry.
Banky Edwards.
I was thinking of
Banksy.
Banksy,
Is he playing the
artist.
other guy, or is he playing Banky right now? I'm like, Banky. All right. Good. Like, you shouldn't have to do that. You should only play one person in the universe.
That was Ben Affleck too.
Yeah, he was Holden.
Holden and the Angel.
That's right. No, he's played 3.
Yeah.
He was Holden in Mallrats, which is who he's playing this time. He was also a guy when he was Banky's partner, which is not Holden.
And Chasing Amy.
No, Chasing Amy. You're right. Holden was chasing
Was that
Amy.
Holden, though?
Yes. Holden was chasing him. As he was talking to Amy.
Was it somebody else in Mallrats?
Someone else in Mallrats when he was with
it's
Banky.
so hard to... sometimes it's so hard to
he was an angel, but Jason Lee was also in Dogma as another character. Jason Lee plays 2 characters.
Yeah.
One in Mallrats, one chasing Amy.
One with beard, one without.
Yes.
No, but it was Mallrats that Jason Lee was in.
He was in Chasing Amy as well. Or some other one of the other movies.
Yeah.
Because in Jay and Silent Bob, they make the joke that they leave one of them, they go to one of Affleck's characters, and then they see Jason Lee again, but he's playing the other character in the universe. Kev, please put some new people in your movies. Come on. Anyway,
You got famous friends. We got it. It's a big flex.
Let's do it. But yeah, so
you can call up Affleck and he'll pick up the phone. We get it.
Jane Silent Bob is up on Thursday. New one coming out is going to be the Amanda Knox documentary. Searching for Sugar Man will be on Thursday. 2 episodes a week, every single week. I do have to do some of the other content, like the journal, like the vlog stuff, and the Huel updates. All that stuff's going to be coming this week. And I got a whole list of stuff to work on, writing stuff, and then hopefully shooting stuff. So we're going to do that. All the information available, robertncheek.com and at robertncheek on our social networks.
Stupendous.
Yes.
Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you are listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network, which includes, by the way, pooping ideas. I have not forgotten, and we are going to do that.
All right.
Pooping ideas coming soon on the OTA digital network. But for Corey, the founder of the Poopin' Ideas podcast, this is Rob.
Do I have to do it on the toilet? That's the only question.
Yes, absolutely.
Here's what I'm thinking about right now.
Perfect. Anchor makes it so easy. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
I'm going to think about an episode right now.